So, today we are going to discuss the NCERT solutions for topic electricity of class 10. So, here this whole topic I have distributed into two parts. So, today we will be discussing first part of NCERT solution. So, first, what does an electric circuit means? So my dear student, an electric circuit is a continuous and closed path of an electric current. If the electric circuit completes, the current can flow through the circuit. So here I would like to add something. My dear student, electric circuit consists of 4 to 5 main things. First, battery or cell. Then second, resistor or conductor. Third, ammeter to measure current. Fourth, voltmeter to measure voltage. And then conducting wires and bulb if it is necessary. And if this all these things, if you connect across the two terminal of the battery with the help of conducting wire in series, this closed and continuous path is called as electric circuit, isn't it? And if electric circuit is complete, then current can flow through the circuit. Next, define the unit of current. SI unit of electric current is ampere. So my dear student, we know that the definition of electric current, it is the rate of flow of charge with respect to time. Means current I is equal to charge Q upon time T. So if you write the formula of current in the form of symbols of its unit, then current I can be represented by A, that is ampere, is equal to 1 joule upon 1 second. So we can say 1 ampere, when the current is flowing 1 ampere, if 1 coulomb charge flows per second across the cross section of conductor, means 1 coulomb charge is flowing through the circuit or across the conductor in 1 second, then we can say current flowing through the circuit is 1 ampere. Next, calculate the number of electrons consisting 1 coulomb of charge. So my dear student, we know that charge on 1 electron is always 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19 coulomb. So now here we have to calculate 1 coulomb contains how many electrons, isn't it? So the number of electrons in 1 coulomb of charge is equal to 1 divided by charge on 1 electron, that is 1 divided by 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19. So the answer will be 6.25 into 10 raised to 18 electrons. So my dear student, 1 coulomb charge contains 6.25 into 10 raised to 18 electrons. Name the device that helps to maintain a potential difference between across a conductor. The answer is battery. So my dear student, here if one cell, like one positive and negative terminal, one cell is connected in circuit, so we can say cell. And if number of cells are connected in series, then the combination of cells is called as battery. Okay, and battery is responsible for to maintain the potential difference or to give the potential difference to the circuit. Next, what is meant by saying that the potential difference between 2 points is 1 volt? My dear student, we know that potential difference is nothing but work done upon charge. So if you see the unit of potential difference, so it will come 1 volt is equal to 1 joule upon 1 coulomb. So we can say 1 joule of work or energy required to flow the charges of 1 coulomb from one terminal to other terminal, then we can say the potential difference between two terminal is 1 volt. That is, the potential difference between 2 points is said to be 1 volt if 1 joule of work is to be done for moving charge of 1 coulomb from one point to another. Next, how much energy is given to each coulomb of charge passing through a 6 volt battery? So my dear student, here the formula is very easy. So energy, that is work done, is equal to product of charge into potential difference, and charge and potential difference is given. Potential difference in this case, in this numerical, is 6 volt and charge is 1 coulomb. So 6 into 1, the definitely answer will be 6 joule energy is required. On what factor does the resistance of conductor depends? So my dear student, here I want to say, or I want to introduce, there are 4 main factors. First, length of the conductor. Second, area of the conductor, that is area of cross section of the conductor. Third, temperature. And fourth, nature of the material used to make conductor. So here, length of the conductor, we'll discuss first factor. Length, if you increase the length of the conductor, the more length provides more path, and more path offers more resistance. That's why more length gives the more resistance. So we can say resistance of the conductor is directly proportional to length. Means we increase the length, resistance will increase. Second factor, area of cross section. So here, if you increase the area, means area, more area gives more number of free electrons, and number of free electrons gives, or more free electrons, then it will give more current, and if current is more, then definitely according to Ohm's law, resistance will be less. So my dear student, once again I'll explain, area of cross section increases, resistance will decrease, because more the area, more the free electrons, more the free electrons, more the charges, that is number of charges will increase, current will also increase, and current increase, resistance will decrease. That's why we can say area of cross section increases, current will decrease. Then third, temperature. If we increase the temperature, resistance of the conductor decreases. Okay. And fourth is nature of material used to make conductor, because it depends on the nature also, because we know that conductor is having wide range of different resistivity. So silver is having least resistivity, and like some of the materials, for example we can say iron, okay, these are having large or very small resistance. So it depends what material has been used to prepare the conductor. So obviously the nature of the material used to make the conductor is also depends on the, or affect on the resistance. So there are 4 factors on which the resistance of conductor depends. First, length. Second, area. Third, temperature. And fourth, nature of the material used to make conductor. Next, will current flow more easily through a thick wire or a thin wire of the same material when connected to a same source, and why? My dear student, just now I have explained, if we increase the area, that is if we increase the thickness, then there will be more number of free electrons, and number of electrons increases, definitely current will increase, and if current increases, resistance will decrease, isn't it? So obviously we can say the current flows more easily through a thick wire as compared to thin wire of the same material, okay, when connected to the same source. It is due to the reason that resistance increases with decreasing in thickness. Let the resistance of electric component remains constant while the potential difference across two ends of the component decreases to half of its former value. What change will occur in the current through it? So my dear student, here the example or numerical, the problem is very easy. Means the given condition is that resistance of the component is same, and if you decrease the given potential difference of the component by half, then what would be the current? Will it be there change? Any change? Definitely, my dear student, according to Ohm's law, potential difference is directly proportional to current at constant resistance. So definitely if you decrease voltage or potential difference by half, definitely current will become half only. So it is given that resistance R of the electric component remains constant, but the potential difference across the ends of the component decreases to half of its value. Hence, as per Ohm's law, new current also decrease to half of its original value. Hope you understood. Next, why are the coil of electric toasters and electric irons made of an alloy rather than pure metal? So here my dear student, it is very simple question. Alloy is having large or higher resistivity than the pure metal. So definitely, according to Joule's law, according to heating effect of electric current, more the resistance, more the heat produced. So there is one application we can use. If we increase resistivity, heat generated in that toaster or electric ions will be more. That's why resistivity of an alloy is generally higher than that of pure metal, so we can use alloys rather than pure metal, isn't it, in electric toasters or heat ions. And second reason, at high temperature an alloy does not oxidize easily, isn't it clear? Means this is the great advantage we have with us, because coil of alloy has longer life if at high temperature alloy does not oxidize easily, isn't it? So there are two reasons we are using alloys rather than pure metal. First, resistivity of alloy is high than the pure metal, and second, durability, because alloy does not oxidize easily in the high temperature. Next, if you see this table very carefully, electrical resistivity of some substance at 20 degrees Celsius, okay, and this table is given, okay, in your NCERT book. So first, if you start from silver, materials are given: silver, copper, aluminum, tungsten, nickel, iron, chromium, mercury, manganese, etc, 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 up to dry paper, isn't it, insulators. And in last column it is given resistivity in ohm meter. If you observe, silver is having least resistivity in this column, okay, and manganese is having large resistivity in conductors. Okay, so if you observe this chart, will give some following answers of the question: which among iron and mercury is better conductor? Definitely, my dear student, iron is having resistivity 10 into 10 into 10 raised to minus 8, and mercury that of 94 into 10 raised to minus 8. So definitely the resistivity of iron is less than mercury, so iron is the better conductor than mercury. And second thing, if you observe this whole chart, the silver is having least resistivity. So in this chart, which material is the best conductor? Definitely the silver, as silver is having 1.6 naught into 10 raised to minus 8 ohm meter resistivity. Next, page number 213, if you see, the first question is there: draw a schematic diagram of circuit consisting of a battery of 3 cells of 2 volt. Here, point to be noted, battery of 3 cells of 2 volt each, means 3 cells containing in that particular battery, and one cell having potential difference 2 volt, means total potential difference of the whole battery is 6 volt. Then a 5 ohm resistor, 8 ohm resistor, and 12 ohm and plug key, all connected in series. So here it is given the schematic diagram of circuit as follow. So cell is given, then 5 ohm, 8 ohm, 12, and then key, and then direction of current from positive terminal of the battery to negative, and everything you have to show, then you will get out of marks. Next, redraw the circuit of question 1, putting in an ammeter to measure the current through the resistors and voltmeter to measure the potential difference across 12 ohm resistor. What would be the readings in ammeter and voltmeter? So here, as we know, we'll put ammeter in series and voltmeter across the 12 ohm resistor as it is asked. So here ammeter A has been joined in the series of circuit and voltmeter V is joined in the parallel to 12 ohm resistor, isn't it? But here, my dear student, one thing I want to say: if you want to find like such numericals, resistor, resistance, conductor, like current, voltage, potential difference, so first thing we have to do is first find the total resistance, then total current, and total potential difference. If you ready with these three basic things, like total current in the circuit, total potential difference in the circuit, and total resistance in the circuit, then you can easily find out other things also. Okay, so total voltage of the battery, as I said, 3 cells into 2 volt each, so 6 volt. Then total resistance R is nothing but R1 plus R2 plus R3, as according to law of resistances in series combination, we know that law, the statement, okay, as it is not there in your syllabus, statement is not there, but law is there. equivalent resistance or total resistance in the circuit of series combination is equal to sum of all individual resistances connected in series. So if you take the simple sum, algebraic sum, so 5 ohm plus 8 ohm plus 12 ohm, it will come 25 ohm. This is the total resistance in the circuit. Now ammeter reading, that is total current we have to find. Total current is nothing but total potential difference across this circuit divided by total resistance according to Ohm's law. So 6 divided by 25, it will come 0.24 ampere. So my dear students, we are ready with total potential difference, total current and total resistance. So total potential difference is 6 volt, total resistance is 25 ohm, total ammeter, that is current, is 0.24 ampere. Now we'll find what is the voltmeter reading across 12 ohm resistor. So very easy, according to Ohm's law, we'll apply Ohm's law directly in this 12 ohm resistor circuit. So V is equal to IR, V is equal to I, current is common as the resistances are connected in series, so current will be common as they are following same path connected in series. So current is 0.24 ampere into 12 volt of resistance, so answer will be 2.88 volt. Hope you understood. Thank you. We'll continue in part 2.